morning, friends. How are you doing this fine day? I've got a really fun, information-packed little talk on our drive this morning. Trying to see if my Instagram friends can join us. We're attempting this, and yet this phone appears to be checking connection, while this phone has a connection. So, nonetheless, onward and upward. I hope my Instagram friends just don't have to miss out. I'm going to talk about the 3 top tips. Hey, Instagram's on there too. Hey. I've never done Instagram Live. It's exciting. So I'm doing this within stories so that we have a little bit more time to cover what we need, and we'll see how it goes. I was going to GoPro it today as well. I do look a little like Mission Control here in the car. But, you know, we got the GoPro all set up, but the only thing I didn't check was to recharge the battery again last night. So I guess during the night, without even using it, the battery died. That's not cool. But oh well.
How may I help you?
Large Diet Coke, please.
Large Diet Coke?
That's right.
Okay, 108.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Just so you know, we're going to talk about sales and the top 3 tips I learned in selling quilts for many years. Here's how that went down. After I practiced law for 5 years, a lot of my family members were in the quilt business, which seems kind of funny. We're not real quilty or real crafty particularly, so these were primarily imported quilts, just used as bedding. Think home decor, basically. So I said, you know, I went home to East Texas, and my mom showed me on her little pink clipboard. She goes, "You're a lawyer, and I make more money than you do." And all she had was a little shop on the side of the road. And she showed me her books, and she was right. She did. I was like, there's something wrong about this. And she was able to get out and about during the day. She had some folks helping her run the shop. So she pretty quickly convinced me that this was the life I wanted, the life of the entrepreneur. I've never regretted it, never looked back. So for 20 years, we sold quilts until the end of 2015, as a matter of fact. But you know what I've learned is sales is sales is sales. And the reason I say we're all in sales, if you're a teacher, you're selling to that parent that's upset with you at that moment, that you really have their child's best interest at heart. If you are in the hospital working and you're needing a promotion, you're selling your boss on your value. So sales is important in life no matter what you do. I really believe that. If you're a lawyer, I promise you you're in sales. I learned that you are selling that jury on accepting your side of the facts instead of the other sides. So it's very important that we learn to sell at the very best level possible. And I was very fortunate to come from a family of salesmen. My mother and my brother are great salesmen. Those of you who saw my Tom Ferry talk have heard the story about Easy Money and my brother and his convenience stores. He is such a natural salesman, and so is my mom. Oh my goodness, Coco, I think your hair is making me allergic today. So here's some of the tips I have learned by observing, because truly I was the shy child of this group. But you know, you can't really survive in a real outgoing family unless you just get on board. So that's what I did. Okay, lesson number 1. Lower the barrier to shopping. Lower the barrier. How many times have you gone in the store and they say, "Can I help you? May I help you?" What do you say? "No, thank you. I'm just looking." Okay? That's what everyone says. It's very rare to have someone come in and say, "Yep, I'm here to buy a queen size quilt and I want 2 shams." That's not how it worked. Every day I had people leave when I was in there selling saying, "Man, I sure didn't think I was going to buy a quilt today." And I said, if we only sold quilts to people that thought they were going to buy a quilt today, we'd be hungry. Let me tell you, it's all impulse buy. None of us need anything. But when you find someone who can make the process enjoyable, understandable, and you feel like you're getting the right product, you're in, right? And certainly this comes as to add-ons to the sale. We'll get there later. So, lower the barriers to entry to make it a purchase. What do I mean by that? My mom taught me. She said, okay, when somebody's walked through the quilt showroom and they've touched more than one quilt, or they've gone back to that quilt hanging on the wall 2 or 3 times and they've just touched it, she goes, they're interested in it. They may or may not be able to buy it, but let's get the conversation going. So what she would tell me not to say is, "Hello, there you go." She said, do not ask them, "Would you like to see this quilt?" The answer will still be 80% of the time, "No, thank you, I'm just looking," because they feel pressure. They feel if you get it out and open it, there's going to be pressure. So she told us, she said, thank you. She said, if they have touched it more than once, thank you, sir, have a good one. She said, if they have touched it more than once, they want to see it, just go pick it up and open it. Don't ask them. Take the guilt. Oh yeah, it's not cool. And the pressure off. Just open it. So how you do this, we would go pick up the quilt and open it, put it on the bed, and I would say either something to the effect of, I hadn't seen this one in a while, or I want to take a look at this one, or we need to refold it anyway, it's good for the quilts. So what we were saying, all of which was true, you don't want to get creases in the same place, but think about it. What we're doing is taking the pressure off of, oh gosh, she's going to open something I have to buy. It was like, no, I haven't seen this one, you know what? Or Jane, come in here and look at this. I don't think you've seen this new pattern. Whatever took the pressure off to get the conversation started and to get the quilt open, then they didn't feel pressured. They were enjoying seeing it because they clearly wanted to see it. And then the conversation would start to go something along the lines of, oh, yeah, well, I do like that one. I was like, yeah, well, this one over here is kind of similar. Did you look at it? And if they go, well, yeah, I was kind of eyeballing that one. Then you get that out. I always said if I could get 2 quilts on the bed, I had better than 50% of chance that I was going to sell them a quilt and they had no intention of buying. Because at that point it becomes, well, should we keep this one in the yes pile or the maybe pile? Is this a yes or a no? How about a maybe? And they're like, I don't like that one as well. So I was like, let's get this thing out here. It's just going to confuse us. So we'd either toss it aside or depending on our time, we might fold it up. Because the point we wanted to make, once you get them invested in the language of, I like this one better than that one, then something I think in our brain just starts to change and it starts to become, well, which one do you like? I like this one. Okay, well, I like that part of this one. And now they're in the process, they're relaxed, and they're enjoying the shopping, and that's what we all wanted to do. So point number 1 in sales is lower the barrier. Make it easy, no pressure, where they don't feel like if you start the conversation, they have to buy. Just start a very casual, enjoyable conversation, and more often than not, it'll work out. Point number 2 is, oh, and I learned this the hard way, point out distinctions in the quilts, the properties, the dresses, the makeup line, whatever it is. Point out differences without making judgments. By this I mean, at one point I'll never forget having 2 beautiful quilts laid out, and one of them had this border that went like this. It's called a sawtooth border. It's much more difficult to make. It's a lot of effort. It's more expensive generally, and I made the mistake of saying, I said, you know what, this one has this beautiful sawtooth border. It takes a lot of work to do this, whereas this one has a plain border. I used the word plain, and I saw her face change instantly. And her answer was, she goes, oh, I kind of liked that one. And I was like, killing sales. That was always our famous line, man, you're killing sales. So you got to watch your wording. So from then on, I never did that again. From then on, it became, this one has this very intricate sawtooth border. There's so much work goes into this. But this one has a very clean line. And some people like a real modern clean. Okay, so see, now they're both positive. They're just different. So I wasn't putting my judgment on the product. I was pointing out positive attributes of both and letting them lead me the direction. I also learned that we don't all speak the same language. I remember asking a gentleman one time, what do you think you're looking for? He goes, well, I want a Southwest quilt. I said, well, I've learned the hard way that people mean a lot of different things by that. So what does a Southwest quilt mean to you? He goes, red, white, and blue. And I was like, red, white, and blue? All right, let's go do that. Because I'm thinking, you remember back in the day in the 90s when you'd have like an orange and purple coyote wearing a kerchief on something? That was Southwest with dream catchers everywhere. He goes, red, white, and blue. So make sure you're using the same terminology and make sure the terminology is all positive. This poor 18-wheeler is having so much trouble making that turn. Oh, but he's gonna make it. He's gonna make it. Okay, we good. Okay, so number 1, we're gonna lower the barriers. We're gonna put no pressure on, and we're not gonna ask, do they want to see something? We're just gonna start showing it, just because we want to. The pressure's off. They can just come along for the ride. Number 2, we're gonna point out positive distinctions without putting any of our judgments on it. And number 3, perhaps most important, my mama taught me. She said, you don't ever stop selling until they say wohelo. I don't know what wohelo is. Maybe it's a Boy Scout term, it seems like it. But she said, until they say wohelo, you keep selling. So in our first shop in Post, she taught me this lesson. She was in there with me. And we'd sold this woman, I want to say maybe $800 worth of bedding. And she checked out, she'd done her whole purchase, but Mom knew, as she said, this woman's on a roll. She is enjoying this whole process. We're going to sell her some more. So she told the lady, she goes, now I'm going to show you one more thing, and I know it's not going to be for today, but you have got to see it. She went and got out our secret weapon, the red postage stamp quilt. The pieces were literally the size of a postage stamp. She held this $300 thing up. The lady said, I've got to have it. I've got to have it. Goes back out to the car, gets her purse, comes back in and checks out again. She goes, you were going to leave money on the table. You quit before she had said, wohelo. I can't buy any more. And that's the point at which you stop. I would also use this when it came to accessories, because with quilts, we'd either sell a Donna Sharp quilt, let's say, for $300, or we would sell a Donna Sharp quilt with all of the goodies, accessories, and accoutrement for $800. I like the second one a lot better. So we learned real quickly to sell them the shams, the Euro stuffers, the dust ruffle, and usually a solid color quilt to put with it. And how do you do that without selling pushy? Well, here's how I did it. I would show them, and they'd be like, well, we don't need the Euros, just the ones in front. I said, okay, you know what, that's great, and I'm going to sell you as much as the budget allows. And so today it may not allow it, but let me do this. Let me show you now what it's going to look like when you get home, and make sure you're cool with that it's still what you want. Because otherwise I haven't really helped you if I don't show you. So I would go remove the Euros. Now suddenly the regular shams, it all looks kind of flat. It doesn't look at all like what they saw. And at least 50% of the time they'd be like, yeah, you're right. It kind of, we need the whole thing. And they would take the whole set. Or sometimes I would tell them, the budget may not allow today, but I need you to at least have seen everything available, and I've done my job. And you tell me where the budget draws the line, that's where we'll stop. But let me show you everything. And more often than not, we could go from $300 to $800 by upselling what I knew they actually needed. If they had the money, they actually needed it, or their bed wasn't going to look like the show bed. So believe in the product you're selling, whether it's yourself, your services, whatever it is, and know that by selling to them, you're actually serving them. You're actually helping them get what they need. I'll never forget my girl's dad, Barry, saying one time, and it was a great point, you know. He said before we had married in the past, he goes, you know, I went in one time looking for cowboy boots, and I told the guy I wanted a Lifetime boot. And he found a pair of boots he liked. He goes, this a Lifetime boot? The guy goes, yeah, that's a Lifetime boot right there. And he goes, you know, I realized later, there's no Lifetime boot, not for $100 for certain. And he goes, but you know, deep down, all I really wanted was the guy to tell me I was making a great choice. He wanted me to reconfirm that what I liked was a good choice, a good boot, and I was smart and capable and choosing a great boot. And I think a lot of time that's what people really want. Sometimes we over-advocate by showing every little nook and cranny negative thing we can dig up, versus saying they're enjoying this process. Nothing in life's perfect. We're not misrepresenting anything, but they're wanting to enjoy it. They're wanting to feel good about what they're buying. So be positive, believe in yourself, believe in your service, believe in the product you're selling, and all will be well. So I look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow. We're supposed to have Caravan. I hope there's blue skies, because I see some gray clouds and they will cancel. So let's talk tomorrow, y'all. Bye.